Attention please. This upload is only for educational purpose. No intention to infringe copyrights. Learning English with subtitles. GPITRAL. GPITRAL. Definitely a must-see. Follow us.
The family home. Traditionally a place of refuge at the end of a long working day. But when the home of your dreams turns into a house of horrors, when spirits move in and try to move you out, it's time then to call on medium Johnny Fiore and specialist house cleanser Ian Lawman, the team from Living with the Dead.
How many people can say that they've seen the mother, after they've passed?
I gotta get out of this room, I'm sorry. I gotta get out of this room. I get the feeling that somebody was dragged up here.
Somebody murdered somebody.
Is there anybody here that can hear my voice? I don't want to cause you any harm.
Thorpe, a sleepy village nestling in the farmland of the Peak District. Steeped with history, the village dates back beyond the Doomsday Book. 4 years ago, Michael and Heather Kelly realized their dream of moving to the countryside and bought a cottage in this quiet hamlet. But ever since, they believe they've felt the presence of spirits.
I don't necessarily see people, but I know somebody is there. The lights go up and down, the television will go on and off. Objects have been moved.
Heather's more in tune with things and she observes things more, where I tend to just kind of come up with reasons why it's not possible.
At first, Heather believed the spirit encounters she was experiencing to be a blessing.
I guess my nicest encounter would have been seeing my mum about 3 months after she died. We were living in this side of the cottage at the time and I saw this thick white swirling mass. And then my mum just sort of spun around and just stood there absolutely beaming at me.
Heather found the visit from her mother to be reassuring during a time of grief. But the longer they spent at the cottage, the more activity Heather believed she was feeling. And as time's gone on, things have begun to feel unsettling.
I just started to get the feeling that somebody was watching me, especially over in this side of the cottage.
It's a feeling that started to affect the way Heather leads her life.
I just feel so uncomfortable over here. Even if I'm in the kitchen cooking, I don't really step into the dining room unless Mike's with me, and especially past the door.
It's a bit of a nuisance at times, but it's just one of those things.
That was Rosemary, she's a baby, look at Cat.
Heather's continuing unease started to make Michael feel increasingly worried for her. Until one day, he was forced to question his skepticism.
I was making a cup of tea and I heard voices, like a group of 4, opening up the door, going up the steps and into the cottage, and there was nobody here. I've got a different opinion of it now. I've got more of an open mind, and I'm now thinking, is there something else?
The cottage that has become Heather and Mike's home is known to have been used in past times as a post office, a pub, and even a rectory. When they moved in, they undertook a massive renovation program, totally rebuilding the inside and refurbishing all the rooms. After this work was done, though, the level of spirit activity that Heather sensed started to increase, and it led them to believe that the renovations may have agitated some ancient spirits.
It would seem that building work can disturb spirits, particularly if you have a sort of a resident spirit that can observe the surroundings the way it is at the present time. When one spirit is disturbed, the activity can cause others to sort of become involved in this. Who knows what we might have?
After all the work they have put in, for Heather, Thorpe Cottage has now become her dream home, except for the presence of the spirits that she feels are now haunting her. And it's now become so much of a nightmare that they're both considering selling the property they've worked so hard on.
We have discussed selling the place. I just feel so uncomfortable here. It seems to be escalating and I just don't want to stay here any longer, really.
Coming up, living with the dead medium Johnny Fiore feels dark echoes from the past.
I gotta get out of this room, I'm sorry. I gotta get out of this room. I think that room has a memory. I get the feeling that somebody was dragged up here.
For the last 4 years, Heather and Michael Kelly have noticed strange goings-on in their picturesque Derbyshire cottage. Heather has always had what she considers to be the gift of being able to see the paranormal.
I've probably seen about 1,000 spirits or had encounters since I was about 7 or 8 years old.
She gets a lot more activities than I do.
However, since moving to the cottage in this peaceful Peak District village, the level of activity Heather's been sensing has dramatically increased. She's now begun to pick up on things 2 to 3 times a week.
I woke up and again completely wide awake and I saw this very pretty lady with blonde hair, sort of a 60s do, you know, with the hair flipped up at the end, with this little baby in her arms. And I thought, why on earth are they showing me this person? My grandmother died 35 years ago, and I realised then, you know, that she got a baby back. My mum was the baby of the family, and so she was just letting me know that my mum was safe. My mum knew that I would never have 5 minutes peace unless I saw her and that she was okay. So.
When somebody continually tells you about experiences that she keeps having, I start to think, well, you know, why is she continually saying this? This must be something that she has actually seen.
More recently, they feel the spirit presence has become more sinister.
One of the not so pleasant experiences I had recently, my husband was already in bed, I got into bed, turned the light out, was just turning over, and I saw 2 black hands coming at me.
She said once that I was sleeping and she woke up in the middle of the night and saw this image, some kind of blue image or something like that, come over my face. It's worrying. You know, you just wonder how far this can go.
It's led Heather to believe that what she thought of as her gift may in fact be more of a curse.
If this is a gift, why hasn't it progressed?
And for Michael, the idea that these spirits could be trying to harm them is a sobering thought.
It's one thing to see things, it's another thing to actually feel something, because now you're getting into the physical world. That's our world, and that's something that you think, well, if they can push, what else can they do?
The Peak District is one of the most beautiful parts of the country, with sweeping hills and spectacular views. Thorpe Cottage is nearly 300 years old and was built on the ancient Tissington estate, which has a rich heritage.
Tissington and Thorpe stretch back to the Domesday Book. I think the area is very haunted, really. These houses are 300-400 years old. A lot of people have lived in these houses over the years, and a lot of people, I'm sure, want to stay there.
I love this place. It's beautiful stone cottage, beautiful part of the country. And to leave this would be very, very sad because it's such a gorgeous place. But, you know, I want her to be happy. So if she's not happy, then we need to get away from it.
I would most definitely love to know who's here, why they're here, and to get rid of them. Help them on their way. And then I can have my home back.
We would like somebody to come out here and explain to us what's happening so that we could get on with our lives and not have to put up with this anymore.
So now they have called on the Living with the Dead team to provide them with the answers they seek and to rid their home of the dark presence that Heather feels she is experiencing. First to arrive is medium Johnny Fiore. Coming from a long line of sensitives and mediums, she hopes to feel any spirit presences in the house herself. And she also hopes to discover the story behind the activity Heather says she's felt. Having a gift herself, Johnny is looking forward to meeting Heather and learning more about the paranormal experiences she's had.
I'm really excited because it's obvious that she's coming into her own. If you don't have anybody to talk to you about these things, they can seem somewhat frightening. And I can understand Heather believing it's a gift and a curse. Sometimes it is a curse. Sometimes you see things that you would rather not see. But I'm really excited to meet her to find out exactly what she's feeling.
For Johnny, the mystery of Heather's gift is as important to this story as the history of the house and what spirits may be lurking within it.
So you're just coming into your intuitive gifts?
My very first experience was when I was between 7 and 9. I used to see a long black mass stemming from the ceiling, just sort of like a long length, as if it was somebody's body hanging from the ceiling, and I didn't like it at all, and it used to frighten me. And my mum used to say I was imagining it. She's been gone 3.5 years now, but I would say it was about 6-7 years ago she told me that somebody had hung themselves from the light. You know, they used to have an electric cord hanging down and they'd actually hung themselves.
Yeah.
I don't have any control over it at all. I just see and hear what I see and hear.
Okay, we're going to help you with that. I'm going to show you how to close things down and how to control it a little bit more,
Johnny feels the way to learn about both the house and Heather's abilities is to investigate the cottage. They're joined by psychic investigator Mark Webb. He's been collecting proof of paranormal goings-on for the last 9 years. With his armory of equipment, including motion-sensitive cameras and temperature sensors, Mark hopes to provide more quantifiable evidence of any spirit activity.